Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We're going to do an unboxing video for you today. Today we have Tinian, The Forgotten Battle. This is Volume 3 in the Marianas campaign, which is itself a subseries of the CSS, or Company Scales. It's either Company Scale System or Company Scale Series. Series designer is Adam Starkweather. Game designer on all three of these is Ross Mortel. This is the third and most recent volume in the Marianas campaign series. Tinian is interesting for a couple of reasons that I will go into here. In the meantime, let's try and get this shrink wrap off. And this is a 2018 release, I want to say. Yep, I was right. So there's that. We have a thick box. This is, at some point, I feel like Compass demanded that the printer provide sturdier boxes, and this is one of the sturdier boxes. We have here a Compass Games catalog, which is the 2018 holiday catalog. If you want to see the 2019 holiday catalog, do check out the video on that in the channel. We've got Christmas dice, which is fabulous. We do have included a errata sheet. Just one sheet. We'd be curious to see if there's additional errata available online. So I'm hoping this is the one here, because it's a relatively recent entry in the series, and the early rulebook had some issues. So I'm hoping this has kind of smoothed that over. So we got a rulebook. There's no series rulebook, which is a decision I don't agree with in this case, because if there were issues, then they could provide a new series rulebook. As it is, the rules are all a little bit different in the individual games. This is a 44-page rulebook. It's full color. It's on pretty nice matte finish stock, which I prefer. Is there an example of play? If there is, like a comprehensive example of play, I do not see it in this book. So let us hope it is in the scenario book. Cute. Okay. You can combine the Tinian, so if you don't know, the island of Tinian is right next to the island of Saipan, so you can combine this one map game with the two maps of Saipan and get yourself a pretty big game. There's a bunch of scenarios here. Looks like 4, 5, 6 scenarios, something like that. One of which, at least, this is relatively small. Jig Day, Lasso. Lasso is not that small. The Final Roundup. So these cards, and I mentioned this before, I like to have in the setup charts like this, where you can see the counters. I think it speeds setup and makes it easier. But I would have loved to see these on cards rather than in the book. I think that's less useful, particularly for the bigger scenarios, like this one, for example, where you have, here's Japanese setup, some US setup, some reinforcements, here's some more reinforcements. That's not practical. Now you could, of course, just photocopy these or make your own set of cards, and that's perfectly cool. But it would have been cooler had the game included that. So a decent number of scenarios. What I'm not seeing, and I'm going to complain about this, here's some designer's notes. Actually, it looks like these are biographies of some of the historical individuals involved, which is pretty cool. Here's some historical notes. And a bibliography, which is another thing I always like to see. But what I don't see is a comprehensive example of play, and I don't like that. All war games should include a comprehensive example of play, and I am inclined to chalk it up to laziness when that is not included. We do have one map. Again, if I haven't mentioned it, this is a one-map game. Now, unlike the map for Saipan, which was the first game in the series by a couple of years, this is on a different stock than the Saipan map, and feels more similar to the Guam map. This is a much more matte finish stock. I would call it a satin finish. There's a little bit of gloss to it, but not much. And it feels way less crispy than the Saipan maps. That map, it's not going to wear well, I think, where this one actually feels real nice. It's also on pretty thick paper, and you can see there's an arrow, Saipan. I think actually the Saipan map overlaps a little bit here. That actually makes sense. So you got the little town down here. The graphics for that are not great, but otherwise I like the map graphics on these things. Not super complicated terrain on this particular thing. We got a mountain in the middle and a town down here and some whatever this is and whatever this is. I'm not going to try and tell you what the terrain is without looking at the TEC. So, but the map looks nice. I like this map. And again, this is the smallest game in the series, even outside including or not including the Marianas campaign games. We have a number of display cards here. We have a couple of play aids. I hope there's more than one. Here's one. We have the sort of general display for date, time, and weather. We have the Japanese unit displays. We have one for the Japanese with their 2 formations, and one for the Americans with their 2 formations. And here's the other tables and charts thing. We have 4 counter sheets. So one map, but it's not really a small game. Now these are 5/8 inch counters, I believe, so it's not as counter heavy a game as you would think, hearing that there's 4 counter sheets. There's still quite a few counters in here. So these are 8 times, let's see, I'm seeing 8 times 10 to 8 times 11. So that'd be what, at 88 counters per side, which would be 176. Am I adding that up right? It's late at night. Per sheet, so that's roughly 700 and some counters. I would say that I'm totally spitballing that number now. But we have some American units. We have some Japanese units. This system does use the historical, or at least historical, unit symbols, which takes some getting used to. And then we get some markers here. 2 sheets of markers. So it's a handsome game. I'm interested in the system. I've been interested in the system for quite some time. I noticed that this stock is a white core stock. The counter sheet's bowed a little bit, so that might be why it feels pretty stiff. It feels thicker than some of the other Compass Games counter sheets I have handled. But in any case, this would be a good CSS game to get to the table. If I don't get to play it soon locally, I may try and play it at some event, possibly the next Compass Games Expo in the future. I hope to go back there. Please check out the After Action Report video if you haven't already. It's super late, and I would like to hit the sack now. So this has been an unboxing of Tinian, the Forgotten Battle, from series designer Adam Starkweather, game designer Ross Mortel, artist Antonio Pinar, and Compass Games, a 2018 release. Looks nice, would like to get it to the table soon. Please like the video if you've enjoyed watching it, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave me any comments or questions below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In the meantime, have a great day. I will see you again soon.